get your ass up and hurt.
So Blizzard did a thing with their perfectly good game, Overwatch. There's this character called Tracer that has this pose. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? This pose showcases that fine, magnificent jetpack that Tracer has, which gives her the ability to jump around and evade enemies, right? Someone got mad on the internets. This user complained that it was out of character for Tracer to show her behind, since she's fast and silly and kind and a good friend, and she's spunky, and she's on with it, and that it's seemingly out of nowhere for her to show her butt, even though there are other characters that have the exact same pose. But what about those two guys, right? One has a cape covering his ass, and the other one has fluffy pants. We'll get to that later.
To the hip-hop nation.
First off, it's sexuality. It's how hot you find someone, or how you think if a character or person is being erotic. So there's an element of it being subjective. When you get down to it, in this person's opinion, that pose of Tracer is too sexualizing of her character. So how come you have a problem with this pose, but you don't have a problem with that one? Oh, okay, it's Widowmaker. So it's a character who is in part defined by flaunting her sexuality. Oh. So this pose would then say to the players that these characters would just become sex symbols with a snap. Oh, okay. You gotta tell me something though. How come this character has that pose? Or this character has that pose? So aren't these poses sexualizing their characters too? How are these poses different from Tracer's pose? There is nothing different about them. The only thing that made you mad is that you have an idea of Tracer and how she should be, and then Blizzard stomped on it without them meaning to stomp on it to begin with. One user in the forums pointed out that it wasn't Blizzard's intent to sexualize her. It just so happened that she was wearing the tight clothing, so that's what would happen. So if this guy had an over-the-shoulder pose, it would look like this. So these two guys can look sexy depending on the costume. This user then showed another picture with Tracer in another costume. Guess what happened? I think it's a pretty clear butt shot in both outfits.
Where is your ass?
You can do it with your back into. Another problem with the pose is that it's optional. People can choose this as their victory pose if they unlock it by playing the game or buying it with in-game currency. So it's possible to unlock this pose and never use it. But it's a victory pose, bro! What if other people use this pose and I still don't like it? It's your right to not like it, sure. Be offended by anything. Be offended by breathing, or seeing a woman in a bathing suit, or when a person says, that chick is hot. But is what you're asking reasonable? A lot of players didn't have a problem with this pose. It is this person and the minority of very vocal players that want Blizzard to remove the pose. Is it reasonable to ask the removal of something a majority of people don't have a problem with or already have unlocked? The silence means no, you piece of shit. Of course, Blizzard did the rational thing here. Removed the pose entirely. Blizzard's actions have lit up the net. There are threads on 4chan to this very minute. Reddit threads are so bad, they even made a filter for people who don't want to see the topic. There's even a petition for Blizzard to remove guns in the game. Because I don't want my child playing a violent video game. I want them to play a game with hugs and kisses. And nobody loses. Meaning, nobody ever wins. Maybe they removed it now, and it will be patched in later. On removing the post, the director of the game has gone on to say that they wanted everyone to feel strong and heroic. The director also used the word strong, which was in the title of the thread, making it appear that maybe you were actually giving in to this person. Then he clarified it, saying that they didn't like the post to begin with and wants to create something better. Nice damage control, bro! Maybe you should listen to the majority, Blizz. The ones that are lighting up the net. Instead of this rando who can't handle seeing a butt in 2016.